Hoy there, Skyward Shield. Welcome to Football Talks, the newest second season. I'm joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Oh my God!
It's time. Football is upon us. We are in the preseason where we're seeing who makes the cut, and we have a lot to talk about, kind of. But for now, we're going to talk about stuff that happened after we aired the last episodes, or from the draft, from post-draft to now. So we're gonna start with Dallas, since they kind of had the least to talk about, save for the whole, are they gonna get Ray Rice? Which they didn't. They stuck to Darren McFadden. Which, speaking of him, he is at the time of this recording, he is currently nursing a hamstring injury. So Bill,
What injury?
Oh, what?
What injury doesn't he have?
Yeah. So, Bill, what do you think Dallas will do?
What do I think Dallas will do, as in...
What will they do when we open up the curtains for the actual season?
What will they do? I feel like they're going to regress a little bit. Not in terms of, what the offensive line is going to do or any of that. I feel like it's going to be a regression because of missing that running game. It's going to be a different running game, and that running game was their bread and butter. Everything got set up off of that running game, and while you have serviceable pieces, it's not the same as having an explosive back like DeMarco.
Yeah, though
So
I'll be honest,
feel
Bill, with their season, the way it's setting up so far, for their first 3 games, I think they'll still go 2-1 because the defenses they'll be playing are almost kind of pushovers. The first week they play the Giants on Sunday Night Football, which the only reason the Giants are on there is just because of Odell fucking Beckham. And they lost JPP, which we could talk about that, but it's okay. Just all you need to know is Pierre-Paul likes to light up fireworks in his hands, and he lost a finger because of it.
Yeah, sadly.
Sadly, but the Giants are in trouble. I think they also lost. They got an injury for their one of their offensive linemen too. I want to say it was the one they drafted in the first round. So if that's the case, man, they are in deep trouble. So that's why I'm not too worried for now. But towards the final stretch, maybe.
I mean, it really all depends how if Darren McFadden comes back, if he retakes the number 1 starting job and then gets hurt again. And knowing Darren McFadden, he's only played an entire schedule, the entire year once in his 7-year career. So he is an injury waiting to happen, and I feel like having even DeMarco, even when he was getting injured, he wasn't gone for most of the year. He still played most of the year for them, even when he got injured. Whereas this year, I feel like Run DMC is going to run into another injury, and I really hope that's not the case. But the history of his career seems to indicate that.
For McFadden or Murray? Because I can't tell who you're talking about because you mentioned Murray. I would say both, actually.
McFadden.
I don't.
Murray himself, he seems to have built himself in such a way that he's not going to injure himself, and he kind of proved that he proved that last year, whereas this year, Darren McFadden doesn't have that same stature or build.
Yeah, but I will say, with the way the Eagles are set up, they are about just as a glass cannon team as the Colts, and I think that's going to haunt them both. But we'll get to that in the bold predictions. But Actually, that reminds me of another one, but yeah, I don't have much else to say for Dallas because they had a mostly quiet offseason, which I guess is good because they always tend to get the press all over them for whatever reasons going on.
Yep.
Which is good. And speaking of, I guess this is a good segue to the next one, who's also so far has had a quiet offseason because, well, it's the Detroit Lions. The NFL media will never acknowledge them unless they're doing something that's considered dirty plays. Right, Bill?
Yeah, yep, and that's, I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, now, I know that Ndamukong Suh we covered in a previous video, but I want to bring this up for one thing and one thing only.
Alright.
If you look at the Miami Dolphins and the coverage you're getting right now, there has not been one mention of the Miami Dolphins being a dirty team. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions consistently got labeled as a dirty team. What is the difference between having Suh on Detroit or Suh on Miami? If he's a dirty player, he's a dirty player in Miami, and he's a dirty player in Detroit. The only reason why he was a dirty player in Detroit is because he was in the city of Detroit, which is a terrible thing to show and to say about this city. So, shame on the NFL media, shame on the media in general, and I want to hear how dirty of a player he is in Miami. So, I don't want to hear this garbage that he's some goody two-shoes now. He isn't. He's the same player, but in Miami. Okay, so with that out of the way...
Actually, now I want to get this out of the way now that you brought this up. So, what you just said, and I know you wanted to talk about Geno Smith a bit, because this is perfect, because did you forget, like 2 years ago, it was last year or 2 years ago, a man named Richie Incognito being a racist bully in the Miami Dolphins locker room. Where did he go? Guess where he's at, Bill?
Where?
Buffalo with Rex Ryan. And then what happened to Geno Smith? Can you care to share some light on that, Bill?
He got punched, sucker punched, for owing $600 and got his jaw broken by some I can't pronounce that name.
IK something, I don't know. A player with the name
Holly or something.
Yeah, and he got immediately cut from the Jets, and guess he immediately got picked up by the Buffalo Bills.
They just really like having people on the edge, I guess.
Okay, the Bills locker room. I mean, you got Rex Ryan, which is okay for them maybe because he keeps the locker room almost in line, but if that locker room goes to hell, I don't think Rex Ryan can even take him out. It's just a locker room destined to go to hell, and that team is going to fall if they even lose it once. Which,
yep.
If they keep playing the way they've been with losing, I mean, they had hype in the middle of last season, but then it just repressed itself, and it's probably going to happen because of their quarterback situation. Houston's not the only one with quarterbacks, but the difference is, at least both Brian Hoyer and Mallett can fucking win some games. But
right.
These guys, between E.J. Manuel, Matt Castle, and what's that other guy, Terrell Pryor? Something, I don't know.
I don't.
There's a third guy,
know.
but they've always talked about E.J. Manuel and Matt Castle, so it's not good for them.
Right.
So I just think the Bills are the biggest bully on the NFL block. But their biggest worry is not other teams, it's themselves. That's the point I'm trying to get across. But anyway, let's go back to Detroit. So Bill, talk about what little has been shared about the off-season.
Well, really, it's been really quiet. After the previous video, the Detroit Lions re-signed DeAndre Levy, our middle linebacker, which is an amazing move with the money that they saved from not signing Ndamukong Suh. So there we go. We have a better middle linebacker because of it, and a better defense because of it. And we also saw our first preseason game in which Amir Abdullah exploded upon the scene and had the New York Jets coach comparing him to Barry Sanders.
I wouldn't go with that. I think he's a player of his own caliber.
Yeah,
But
Amir, there's only one Barry Sanders, and he did things that you would never see and will never see again.
yeah, I can't think of a player to compare him to. But if he stays as explosive like that, I would actually maybe compare him to Earl Campbell of the Houston Oilers.
I mean, he's quick, and the quickness. Many are calling him like a young Reggie Bush. Back when Reggie Bush was in his prime, he had that explosive cut, and he would just blow down the sideline.
Yeah, but with Abdullah, I think he's a steal for a second round pick, a late second round pick. I think that's a steal. How did Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon get picked over him?
Well, I mean, to be fair, Melvin Gordon and Todd Gurley have a lot of upside. That is the thing.
Todd Gurley has the injury to work with, but seeing Abdullah, it's like, wow, how did this guy not get drafted in the first round? I don't know, certain Cowboys could have used him, but hey, the Dallas Cowboys got a defensive player, especially for the secondary, to deal with players like like Victor Cruz, Odell Beckham, or Jordy Nelson, for example, just to deal with because their issue was also the secondary, which throughout the whole season I didn't really acknowledge. When I think about it, it's like their secondary was bad too. But
I mean,
there is something to note. I forgot about Greg Hardy. We never talked about Greg Hardy, which we'll talk. I guess we'll talk about him after we finish Detroit's segment, but. I'm on the Abdullah hype train, and I have a bold prediction for him, which I'll share later. But other than that, Stafford got in the preseason game too, only threw 2 passes. Who did they go to, Bill? Who did they go to?
Golden Tate.
If I had an NFL fantasy account, I would draft Golden Tate around the 3rd round, maybe. But because they're gonna get, so people are gonna get Calvin, they're gonna get Beckham, they're gonna get Dez, but I think Golden Tate will get me some points too.
Oh yeah, I mean, wide receiver position is really deep around the NFL.
Yeah.
But I mean, Golden Tate, good lord, he's looking for a monster year this year.
I hope so. But okay.
Also, one other thing to note about Detroit before we move to Greg Hardy.
All right.
Can we stop saying that Matt Stafford's not a good quarterback?
Oh, thank you. I forgot to bring that up because I have the perfect comparison, but you go first since you brought it up. Go first.
Can we stop saying that he's not a good quarterback? Let's take a look at his career in retrospect. He's thrown for 5,000 yards, which is one of only 4 or 5 players in NFL history to ever do it.
Yeah.
His interceptions went down last year, even though most experts, quotation marks, say that he had a terrible season last year.
And let's not,
even though he did not have Kelvin Johnson for 3 games last year.
Bill, let's not forget, at the same time, we go and praise Andrew Luck, which I think when Peyton and Brady leave, Andrew Luck will be the best quarterback in the league. But right now, he's thrown so many interceptions and pick sixes, it's about the same as Geno Smith.
And one other thing about Stafford is his completion percentage went up last year. So I don't want to hear that he's not a good quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
He is worth $100 million. It's just because he hasn't been in the playoffs enough. He isn't one of ESPN or the NFL Network's poster boys. You know, oh my God, it's Aaron Rodgers. Get out the discount double check. Oh.
I love when
No,
J.J. Watt sacked him and did the discount double check in front of him. Ha!
I just, I'm done. He's worth $100 million, and he will get his playoff wins in a matter of time. All it's gonna take is a little matter of time, and he will be your quote-unquote poster boy quarterback.
Well, with Abdullah there, I think it'll happen. I'm sorry, Bill. Abdullah is my boy. He's my boy, man.
The Lions could have a four-headed monster. Abdullah, Stafford, Golden Tate, Calvin Johnson. Good
Actually,
luck.
there's one more. They might be a five-headed because I know from
Pettigrew.
No, I'm talking Ebron because I did hear that he's had a good off season. He's been doing well in training camp, so it's likely his injuries are all past and he's getting over the hump. Which, if that happens, great. That is a loaded offense.
The Lions this year are going to surprise people, and
there's always that one breakout team. Last year was the Cardinals, and this year might be the Lions.
There's no player on the team that can be called dirty. I don't want to hear the dirty label either. There's no players on this team. That piece of shit in Rayola is gone, and Ndamukong Suh is gone.
Mm-hmm. But okay, Bill, can I get my piece out of from Matthew Stafford and all the people? All right.
Yep.
So, here's who I compare Stafford to, honestly. Tony Romo. Do you remember a few years ago, back when we were really young, which this feels like a long time, honestly, but this only stopped like 2 years ago, when Romo kept getting shit like, oh, he can't pull through in the clutch, he can't win a playoff game, he always throws the interceptions all the time, and now that he's got a good offensive line, he's now being treated like an elite quarterback. He's a top 5, and rarely top 3, but mostly a top 5 to top 7 or 8 quarterback now, because of that offensive line. But I don't think it's never been really his fault. It's always something else or another. Sure, he's thrown a few picks which he could have avoided, and every quarterback does that. Even Aaron Rodgers, even Tom Brady. But with Stafford, you saw these for a few games where he didn't have many weapons, he had to pull through in the clutch, make comebacks against the Saints, the Falcons, and the who was the other team? The Dolphins. And let me tell you, one thing I like what Stafford can do, especially while running, he can do a sidearm throw. From what I'm told, those are really hard to do.
Yep.
And get them on the money. It's quite amazing. But honestly, here's the thing, and I've noticed a lot of coaches tend to do this, and I think it's out of pressure from their GMs and owners, and out of from their fans. When a quarterback doesn't do good after the first 2 seasons, they want them out. They declare them a bust. But what do they do with Romo? Despite all the naysayers and the haters, they kept him. They kept building an offensive line slowly and slowly, and got him more of these weapons to use slowly and slowly, till now look where he's at. It's a bit too late, because considering the the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl window is closing, but Stafford, if they keep him and protect him, he'll also be in that same regard as Romo. Just you wait, just stick with your guns. That's what coaches need to do. And they keep getting the pressure. Honestly, I think that's where it comes down to why some quarterbacks don't get to live up to their potential, because they just get kicked out because either the fans don't want them there, or the owner and the GM just lose faith.
Yep.
So let's just leave it at that. Keep Stafford and see what happens. I have no doubt he'll get them a win, especially with Abdullah, Golden Tate, Megatron, and all the rest of them. But yeah, I said my piece now. Can we go back to Greg Hardy in Dallas?
Yep.
Which this ties into Deflategate a little, but I'll just get the other stuff out with him. He got his suspension from 10 to 4 now. The first game he'll come to play in is against the Patriots, which may or may not have Tom Brady in, depending on the settlement on Deflategate, which we'll go to in a minute. So, Bill, do you think when Greg Hardy comes back that the Dallas defense will be, like, say, back to when DeMarcus Ware was there? Because I think that's where it'll go back to, where it'll be good enough to get the job done.
Do I think that it'll get there?
Yeah. None of this top 10 defense. No, I mean back to when it had an okay defense when DeMarcus Ware was there. Because I feel like this is what Greg Hardy's going to be like. Just like having DeMarcus Ware on the team. That one defensive player that the coaches on the other side have to watch out for.
Really, that part of the football is not where they were really that bad at. So, really, I don't think it'll make too much of a improvement in that way. What they're going to need a lot of help in is pass defense, and they just haven't taken care of that area of the game, and that's the area you need to build your team around.
Do you mean rushing the quarterback? Because that's what Greg Hardy does. He's a defensive end.
I mean, rushing the quarterback's fine, but they'll also slide protections. I mean, eventually you're going to run into a quarterback that's just throw the football all over you. You have to be able to cover the wide receivers.
Well,
and
that's what they drafted with whatever his name was.
I feel like with the teams in their division that they have to play twice a year, they have Jordan Matthews to play twice a year. They have to play Odell Beckham Jr. twice a year.
Play Deshaun Jackson. Actually,
and Deshaun Jackson.
Oh yeah, Deshaun Jackson will be a threat because the Washington football team games aren't till towards the end of the year, like at around November, and he's out right now. But they say he'll come back somewhere in the season, so he's not going to be gone for long. So yeah, but I think Greg Hardy will at least make the other players shine, like DeMarcus Lawrence, because you saw DeMarcus Lawrence. You didn't like seeing it, Bill, and I didn't kind of either when DeMarcus Lawrence did good in that playoff game against the Lions. Sorry, Bill.
Right.
I don't mean to open up old wounds.
Well, really, it was a thing, but you know, I mean,
players doing their job,
game,
man.
That game will live with me for a very long time.
It will live with the Detroit fans for a long, long time.
I'm still mad about that game.
I'm still mad about the Packers, but hey, the Packers got their just desserts against the Seahawks.
I mean, I'm still furious about that game. I don't even want to think about that game.
Sorry, Bill.
That's how bad it is. I don't want to think about that game. I don't want to see that referee ever referee another one of our games because, you know, he's a idiot and he's just an idiot, plain and simple. Mm-hmm. But we'll move away from that.
All right, so let's move on to Houston. Houston has also a lot of news, not just for the sake of Hard Knocks, because the biggest news, fuck the quarterback situation, that doesn't matter. Foster's out for a good part of the season.
Yep.
Foster got another groin injury, which he got surgery, which the only optimistic news, he could come in 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, which is a month to a month and a half, at the earliest, because the surgery went very well, apparently.
And to be honest, really, he's had a history of hamstring issues, and it led to a back surgery a couple years ago, so...
Yeah. But his back isn't the problem now, it's his legs, which that's not a good thing. But hey, it could be worse. Apparently getting a shoulder injury on a running back is bad, because then they don't try to break cuts. Like, they don't try to cut corners and, go through holes.
Yeah, because you're either getting hit into the ground in that shoulder, or it's not a good thing.
Yeah, but honestly, with the way I was gonna say, if he still was healthy, the Texans could have went. Let's see. I was gonna say they go 10-6. 10-6, and maybe 11-5 at best. But with Foster gone, they may be lucky to go 9-7.
Oh, damn.
So,
Yeah.
like, I think a few games matter. Like, they could lose to the Jets because they don't have a running back.
Mm-hmm.
But technically, he'll be back by then, probably. So, who knows? So.
I mean, to be fair, if there's one team that RA has dealt with and experienced it, it has been the Houston Texans. So they do know what they have in their backfield with Alfred Blue.
Yeah, they didn't get Pierre Thomas from the Saints because I'm guessing he wanted to be treated like the number one guy. My guess is because once Foster came back, he was going to be set to the side, no doubt, and he probably wouldn't want that. Basically a Ben Tate issue. But
right.
We have Alfred Blue, Jonathan Grimes, and we got Chris Polk from the Eagles, which he's all right. I know he's a good punt returner, but they're not going to put him to that now. I think that's what he would have been if Foster was healthy, but not anymore. So, with Foster's injury, there's also the quarterback situation to still talk about. From what I'm seeing, Hoyer's had a lot more hit and miss days, whereas Ryan Mallett has been getting much more deep throws. Apparently he's doing better in the deep throws more than the shorter range throws, which is a little surprising. It's a little weird, but Mallett's favorite target is clearly DeAndre Hopkins, which is good, because he's going to be our number one threat.
Yeah.
Whereas Brian Hoyer tends to go for Nate Washington. But
well, he also doesn't have that cannon of an arm either.
Yeah.
You know.
So Bill O'Brien keeps saying it's equal, it's tied, but I think he's just saying that because he doesn't want to give a hint till he's actually, come out and said it. He's going to keep it as saying it's close all the time until it's the day to say who gets it. In fact, for tomorrow's game, which at the time it's tomorrow, by the time this gets uploaded it might be Sunday, which is the day after the preseason game between the Texans and the 49ers. We don't know who's going to play that one. My guess is, according to John McClain from the Houston Chronicle, I wonder if you've ever heard of him, Bill. He's apparently a legendary news or sports reporter for Texas.
I've heard of him. I've seen stuff retweeted of him.
That's
but
probably for me. But
yeah.
He's been watching their practice, and he's saying Mallett is likely to be the candidate if he keeps this up, which I agree. And then another guy who was formerly with the Baltimore newspaper actually posted a really good article saying as long as Bill O'Brien is still unsure of who's going to get it, that means Mallett has a chance, because originally before camp started everyone was saying Brian Hoyer has the edge right now because he's played more games, which to me bothers me because these two played each other and Mallett destroyed Hoyer. Get wrecked, son. But you get what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So as long as if he keeps being undecided, it's likely, it's not guaranteed though, we could be all wrong, that Mallett has it. But honestly, the preseason games, I think it'll take the preseason game against the 49ers and the Broncos on week 2 to find out. Which I hope it takes that long, because I want Mallett to get the job, man. Houston fans want Mallett to get the job. But we'll see. So, last but not least, there's the first episode of Hard Knocks to mention, which I only saw little snippets. Here's the one thing to note. Bill O'Brien was the star of the show. Well, kind of. It was him and DeAndre Hopkins, because Bill O'Brien cursed so many times in his little segment where it was all focused on him. Apparently he cursed about 28 times. So I'm not talking about no damn in hell. No, that's for scrubs. He said much more worse than that.
Oh yeah.
He told his on the day before days before the episode aired, he told his mom not to watch it. She watched it and wasn't pleased. But man, I knew Bill O'Brien would get some limelight. I didn't know it was for cursing, but That was funny. But
I'm
then there was one other thing. If you could find this, I saw vines of it where D'Angelo Hall, because the Washington football team trained with the Texans, he was just shit talking DeAndre Hopkins. Because, he thinks he's tough. He thinks him and the Washington football team are tough shit. Which, Bill, are they a good team? Are the Washington football team a tough team? What do you think?
no.
No, of course not. So, when it comes to the actual game, when it comes to the plays, DeAndre Hopkins runs a route against D'Angelo Hall, just makes a sharp turn, which D'Angelo Hall falls on the back of his leg and hurts it. Later in the day, later on, it goes to Twitter, where D'Angelo Hall's just shit-talking him more, and then in response, DeAndre Hopkins says, "Hope your treatment goes well." It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. But I wish I could see the episode. I'm gonna try and see the second episode when it airs, but who knows? Anyway, so I think that's enough for Houston. Let's move on to the last one. Patriots.
Oh God.
We just got to talk about Deflategate, and I hate it. So, okay, I'll put it best. The commissioner, Roger Goodell, he heard Brady's appeal first, which basically is like saying, okay, you're going to go to the judge that sentenced you and tell him to look over his sentence. And he's like, you know what? I did a good job. No, it's upheld. I think you did it, so I'm going to keep the suspension going. But Greg Hardy, who nearly killed his wife, I think it was his wife. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like that.
Girlfriend.
Oh, girlfriend. My bad. Nearly killed his girlfriend. What's that? You know what? You're with the Cowboys, right? Those guys get a lot of views and money. I'll reduce your suspension from 10 to 4. That's good. Or let's go even farther. When the video of Ray Rice was with the commissioner, where he decked his fiancée in the elevator, he had it, said he didn't have it, then proved it was, but let him say, you can play. But then when they found out, I'll give you a 2-game suspension. But now, because of the pressure from fans and just all over America, had to suspend him for a whole year. So let that sink in. To the possible threat to the game is more important than a threat to society for Roger Goodell. Pure capitalist America move, Bill.
I'm not. I have one thought about this, and it's not even about deflated footballs or Roger Goodell.
What do you got?
I'm so sick and tired of listening to it. I don't want to listen to about it anymore.
I don't want to either. I just want this dropped. I want Brady to get his suspension removed because he didn't do anything to it. It was those guys who actually messed with the balls. They should be banned from working in the NFL.
The NFL needs rule changes where that should have never happened in the first place. 2 is the best thing about Deflategate. And I'll put it this way, because I'm so tired of dealing with Deflategate. Just even anything about Deflategate, it just irking me. I just want it to go away. But you know why he dragged it out for a month. Goodell did. So that way Brady would have had to appeal it during the preseason, because really, who cares about the preseason? I mean, seriously, what's going to garner more attention? Federal court or the preseason? Oh, look at a bunch of no-names are playing in a football game. Oh, that's nice. Oh, look at it's Tom Brady in federal court. Let's get that.
And draw horrible sketches of him.
I was just going there.
That's so not good thing.
The greatest thing about that is the Twitter, the Photoshop of that horrifyingly bad sketch from the courtroom being turned into Tom Brady's courtroom sketch being photoshopped onto ET.
Mm-mm.
That is probably the greatest thing I've ever seen, and it. I swear to God, I just sat there and laughed and laughed. I couldn't help but to laugh. It was so funny. But really, that was the greatest thing to come out of Deflategate. Everything else is I'm sick and tired of even listening to it or dealing with it. It's always number one on ESPN. It's like, I don't care anymore.
I don't.
Move on.
I'm getting tired of it. I'm tired of Brady being the blame for it. But it's just stupid. Like I've said before, it's a ploy by the NFL media to stay relevant through the offseason. It's like, don't forget, we're still here, guys. Sure, baseball's going on, but we're still here. Sure, the Women's World Cup is going on, but we're still here. That's just basically what they were doing. But enough of that.
Yep.
Let's move on to one of our better segments. Bold predictions.
Bold predictions.
Each of us are going to share one bold prediction at a time, and I think I will let Bill start. Actually, Bill, how much do you have? How many predictions do you have?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7. So, Bill, you go first.
All right. My first and these may not happen.
Yeah,
In
well,
fact,
that should
likely
be clear.
will not happen.
It's a prediction, but it's not set in stone. The future's never set in stone.
I mean, this is why they call it bold prediction. Most likely, this is not going to happen. But I wrote down my first bold prediction: Jacksonville will be a wild card team.
Whoa, Bill, you know I can't approve of that. Do you honestly believe in Blake Bortles? I've seen so many people believe in Blake Bortles, but I don't think he'll do it. If anyone has the better chance, it's either Bridgewater, which I know you don't like to hear, or Derek Carr.
I'll put it this way: Jacksonville is building a good defense,
And they get injured.
They get injured, but that team played really hard last year. They didn't just roll over and die for any team.
Yeah. But okay, you know what? That gives me another bold prediction.
Oh,
But you know
man.
what? You go ahead, finish your. Is that all you have to say?
Yeah, I felt like bold predictions would be sort of like fire them off. And,
Yeah, that's what we're kind of doing. Alright, so here's mine. Mine's already negative. Shows a lot about my character. San Francisco is going to do so bad this season, they're going to go in the top 5 picks in the draft. I'm not saying they'll have the worst record. That is possible, but I think they'll at least get a couple of wins thanks to Colin Kaepernick being there. So, I don't know what their record will be. I'm not going to predict that. I'd love to, but I mean, if you put me on the spot, maybe they'll go 5-11.
I could see that happening, really.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, Bill,
man.
your turn.
All right. Cleveland will finish 8-8 after they make a switch to Johnny Manziel after the 4th game of the season.
Oh, nice. You know, I've seen a guy I follow on Twitter, and I subscribe to him on YouTube, Moonlight Swami, I don't know. It's SWAMI. That's how you spell the last part.
Yeah, Swami.
Yeah, aka Franchise Nation. He brought up a good point. Because people seem to think that the Jets have a great offensive line, but it's not. It's kind of hit or miss. But the Cleveland Browns offensive line has been solid. So it's not that the quarterback's been getting hit or anything like with, say, Romo's issues. But they just had bad quarterbacks. That's just what it was. It wasn't the fault of the offensive line or the other pieces. It was just the quarterback. That's one situation where, yes, it is the quarterback's fault. But
Yep.
So, and of course, the Browns' defense is solid. You saw them tear apart Ben Roethlisberger in the last season when they hosted the Steelers. I even predicted that they would beat them once, and they did. So
Yep.
the Browns just are a quarterback away from being a good team. And well, they kind of need a wide receiver. I think they've got good running backs.
Oh yeah.
But it's my turn, right? I
Yep.
will stay in the AFC North to say that the AFC North champion will go 9-7 this year because out of all the schedules, the AFC North is the most brutal because they got to play the NFC West. They're gonna get wrecked, Bill.
Yep.
So I'm it. That's not a bad thing, but I can't tell you who will win. It'll come down to their divisional wins, honestly. Actually, I can tell you who will win the AFC North, but that's for the next segment. But it's your turn, Bill.
You know this one's coming.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions will win the Super Bowl.
Okay, we've known that. We've known you were saying that for a while.
And they will finish 13-3 and win the Super Bowl.
Okay, I know we haven't done that. That's the segment for later, for the next part actually of the podcast. But yeah, I agree they'll go 13-3, but which we'll talk more about in the next part. But yeah, I agree with you. Well, at least with the schedule. Super Bowl, it depends on who they play and all that. But is it my turn?
Yep.
I'm staying with Detroit to say Amir Abdullah will win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Well, you just stole one of mine.
So that one was yours too.
Yep, I have that. I have that written down as well.
Then fine,
so there we go.
I'll change it up. A runner-up, or who could also take it, is Amari Cooper.
Well, I still am crossing it off as well.
All right.
But Amari Cooper, yeah.
If it's not Abdullah, it's Amari Cooper, because I expect him and Derek Carr to be the biggest best friends of football since Romo and Jason Witten.
Oh man.
Your turn, Bill.
Oh. My next one is Derek Carr will be a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Really, this year? I don't think so, but
Indeed.
I believe he'll
Yep.
improve. I think he'll improve much more than Blake Bortles. Because, look, Blake Bortles has to deal with the Colts twice a year, and he's got to deal with J.J. Watt twice a year. So that's what's going to be.
I believe in Derek Carr. He looks like he's going to develop into a special quarterback.
Maybe at least, I hope he'll do better than his brother did when he was in Houston.
Yeah, well, he had a expansion team to deal with, so
Yeah.
really he was doomed to fail.
But yeah, I'm on the Raiders hype train. Honestly, I think it won't happen this year because they have a little tough schedule because they got to deal with you guys. They got to deal with the NFC North, which hey, they could at least beat Chicago and the Vikings.
Oh yeah.
But okay, so okay, all right. So it's my turn, right?
Yep.
So you know what? Fine. I'll stay with the Raiders. Amari Cooper will get over 1,000 yards this year. I don't know how many touchdowns. Those are harder for me to predict, honestly. But he'll get at least 1,000 yards, and that's why I think he will be a contender for Rookie of the Year. But it's between him and Abdullah, honestly.
Oh man.
All right, so your turn.
I'm staying with the Raiders. The Oakland Raiders will make the playoffs this year.
What?
Again, bold predictions.
I think this
is why they call them bold.
I think that's the boldest prediction we will ever have here.
The Oakland Raiders will make the playoffs. They're getting better. They're getting better.
All right. Well, I guess I'll stay with one of my newer ones. Raiders defense will make top 10 defenses.
Yep.
Well, the defensive line. I can't say for the secondary, but I think that'll be the top. They'll be in the top 10 defensive lines. And Khalil Mack will make the Pro Bowl. He'll make the leap and become a star defensive player. But yeah, that's one of mine. What do you got, Bill?
My next one is Indianapolis Colts will lose in the first round of the playoffs.
God damn! Now you stole mine. I also predict the Colts will lose the first game of the playoffs, and because they do, they lose Chuck Pagano.
Oh man.
Because remember, they didn't offer him a contract extension because they want Super Bowl or bust. And they're not going to go Super Bowl and bust because they still have no formidable defense.
Correct.
So, is it my turn?
If you want it to be your turn, sure.
Alright. Philadelphia will bomb in the second half of the season, and it'll all start on Thanksgiving when the Lions have an actual bird for Thanksgiving. They will lose all their games after that.
Oh man.
Alright, your turn.
I have staying in the playoff mode. Green Bay will lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Oh, you know you want that to happen. And I do too, because I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
I mean,
you know,
I hope it's...
You know, I could add on to that. They will lose in the first round to the Cardinals. Oh, actually, no. Maybe they won't get to play the Cardinals. Oh, well. But, yeah. Alright, my turn. Texans will keep the most... They'll keep the record for the most turnovers of the whole season and get the most combined sacks out of all the teams. Last year, they had the most overall turnovers against other teams with, you know, all their interceptions and fumbles and shit, because not just J.J. Watt, because of also Kareem Jackson, Jonathan Joseph, and all that. So I think they will still have the most turnovers, but they'll also have the best front line, because Jadeveon Clowney will come back healthy and just take every team to town. Yep. All right, after that, I think I've got one. Yeah, I've got one more left, Bill.
I got two more.
All right,
so here we go. Andy Dalton will play in the AFC title game.
They're gonna break the hump. They're gonna make the hump.
Yep.
Oh my God! I don't want that to happen. They have to keep the tradition. They must lose to an AFC South team. That is written fate for them. Fate is not written, almost, but for them it is. They must lose to any team in the AFC South. Maybe they'll lose to the Jaguars, since that's what you think. Alright, so, my turn, my last one. Megatron and Golden Tate will be the best wide receiver duo in the NFL.
Oh man.
It's simple. What do I need to explain? Golden Tate, you see, he gets a lot of yards. He had the best yards after the catch out of all the players in the league. So you know he can run once he gets the ball. So he'll gain extra yards than just catching it. And Megatron, well, he's Megatron. He could catch he's better at catching the ball. Running it's harder, but yeah, I think they'll be the best wide receiver duo. That's my last bold prediction.
And this is my last bold prediction, and it's to piggyback on that prediction right there. And this is my craziest one yet. Golden Tate will lead the league in receiving yards, touchdowns, and yards after catch, and will take away the MVP.
The offensive MVP?
Offensive MVP of the league.
You don't know how much I want that to come true. But I know Golden Tate will make the Pro Bowl at least, but yeah. Alright. So that's your last one, right?
Yep.
Let's move on to the best part. This is our last segment where we go over who, as of right now, who we think will win each of the divisions and the two teams for the wild card. I think we did this before in the last part, but times have changed.
Indeed.
So I think now things are going to be a little more interesting. So we'll start with the AFC North. I will lead with my prediction being the Steelers will win, and like I said with my bold one, they'll go in at 9-7, only because they have won the most divisional games. I think they will go 5-1 in the division. They have to split it with the with the Ravens, because that just seems to be fate too. That also just seems to happen. It's always a bloodbath with those two, as you say, Bill.
Yep. In a very brutal division, I have for the AFC North Cincinnati winning the AFC North.
Yeah.
Just because it's gonna be a brutal beatdown.
All right. Next is the AFC West. I have the Chargers because I think Melvin Gordon will be the reason they get in. I didn't mention it in bold prediction, but I think it's because everyone expects Melvin Gordon to be an impact player. I think I said that too in the draft videos. So I think he'll be the reason they punch their ticket to the playoffs. And the Broncos are going to fall. That could have been a bold prediction, actually, where the Broncos don't make the playoffs. But what's yours, Bill?
My division champ for the AFC West, I gotta go with the tried and true, the Denver Broncos. This is Peyton Manning's last year. He's gonna be motivated. They're gonna run the football more. They'll protect him. I feel like Kubiak's system will work to his advantage, and I feel like they'll make the playoffs and be the division champs.
I can understand
for the last
that.
time. For the last time, because after this year he's out and they're going to fall apart.
Yeah, they only have Brock Wilder or something. Whatever. First name's Brock.
Osweiler.
Thank you. Yeah, but speaking of motivated, the AFC East. Wait, did we mention AFC East? We did, right? Or no, we didn't.
The AFC East, we haven't gotten
Oh,
to
I
the
skipped
AFC
them. I
East
meant to
yet.
go them next, but I went west. It's okay. So speaking of motivated, the Patriots will win the AFC East because what else is new? Do you people like the media? You were shaming the media for like not saying Dolphins will be a dirty team. No, shame the media for buttering up. I mean, the Dolphins can go. They can try. They have the potential. They've got a good quarterback and they have some good wide receivers. But the Jets and the Bills, no way. They can win some games because of their defense, but they can't make the playoffs with them. Maybe the Bills can go 9-7, but they won't make the damn playoffs. They are not making the playoffs. I don't care what people say. The Bills and the Jets will not do as great as people are saying. The media needs to stop buttering them up.
And obviously I've got the New England Patriots winning the division as well. And I feel like New England's going to go on a rampage.
Yeah, get wrecked. You know, if they win the Super Bowl, I can just imagine Brady holding the trophy up and then just pointing it at Goodell saying, "This one's for you."
I just would love to see the visual of Tom Brady taking the trophy from Goodell. But it's not going to happen because Lions!
I know you believe in the Lions, Phil, but just the possibility is there. But anyway, last but not least, the AFC South. If Foster was healthy, I would say the Texans would win. But it's going to be the damn Colts because, like with the AFC East, what else is new? I hate saying that.
Yep, and like you, I also believe Indianapolis will take the AFC South.
But it doesn't matter. They're going to lose the first round, no matter who they play. And honestly, for my wild cards at least, they have by bad I mean brutal defenses to play. So, Bill, tell me your wild card teams. I'll let you go first. Both of them.
My two wild card teams are the Houston Texans
and
the San Diego Chargers.
Oh, all right. So, Bill, explain why you think they'll make the playoff or the wild card, if you can.
Because really, I think Houston and San Diego will. I really don't believe any team from the AFC East is going to make it.
I don't believe the.
I feel.
Or what?
I feel they're severely overhyped.
Thank you.
I feel like the AFC North is gonna beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, and they're gonna get beaten up by the NFC West.
the two divisions that'll have two teams going will be the South and the West. So there you go.
Okay, that's for me. My wild card teams are going to be the Dolphins and the Texans. One of them's going to play the Colts, and then their defense is going to lay the smackdown on Andrew Luck. So I think the Dolphins, because their defense is solid, even though, yeah, they over fucking hype Sue, but he's still a good player. A dirty player, but still a good player. And I think their wide receiver group is also solid enough for Tannehill to get something out of them. But Tannehill honestly needs to do the read option a little more, because he's fast. He was a wide receiver too. But Texans,
Yep.
do you want me to talk more about how I think the Texans will win? That defense will be solid once Jadeveon Clowney's back, and by then, Foster will be already playing. He'll be back probably before the bye week, honestly. If things go smoothly, he should be back on a week or two before their bye week, which is week 9 of the regular season. So he'll either come back against the Dolphins, ironically, or when they host the Titans and destroy Marcus Mariota. Poor Mariota. He shouldn't have been drafted by them. Could have gotten a better team. But yeah. So let's go to the NFC in reverse. We're going to start with the NFC South. You know, that horrible division that the media is also overhyping, but all of them. I mean, the Panthers are good, but I'll let you go first with who you think will win the NFC South.
All right. In a division full of terrible defenses, I'm picking the Carolina Panthers to win that division.
So they'll be not only the first to win 2 in a row, but also the only one 3 in a row.
Yep.
All right, I can get behind that, but I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. I think they should have beat the Panthers last year. I don't know why they just bombed it. I mean, you held your own against the Packers at Lambeau. You should have been able to beat the Panthers at your own place. But yeah, I go Falcons. I'll let the Birds win. Let's just say a lot of Birds are getting in the playoffs on this side. And let's talk about another bird for the NFC West. I'm still torn between this. 2 teams are going to go from here to the playoffs. It will be either the Cardinals or Seattle. But to win the crown, and I think they might get a bye. I'm not saying they will, but they can if they play as good as they did last year. Arizona Cardinals. They shouldn't have gotten injured. Should have won the playoffs against. Should have beaten the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going Arizona. I believe in Bruce Arians.
Oh, yeah? Oh, man. See, and my prediction for the NFC West is the same old, same old. The Seattle Seahawks are going back.
Do you think that they'll split? I think they'll split with the Cardinals.
Very possible. Very possible. That the Seattle schedule is brutally difficult.
They're all brutal on the West and the North. That's why they're going to beat each other up.
Yep.
But
oh man.
All right, Bill. It's time for the NFC East, the one that's always been overhyped for decades now. Though, to be fair, there was a time when all 4 teams were good. But not anymore. There can only be 1 or 2 now. And it's not the Giants. I'm going to go with the Cowboys because going with my bold prediction, the Eagles will bomb at around Thanksgiving week because they were feasted upon by the Lions.
And my prediction for the NFC East is that the Philadelphia Eagles will win the division. I feel Dallas took too many steps back with not enough running backs, and they didn't really get anyone to really replace DeMarco Murray.
I can understand that.
So really, in an offense predicated upon the run without having a running back, I really don't see how. I mean, that division, I don't feel like if anyone's gonna win it, it's gonna be 9-7 at most.
I say 10-6.
I mean, 10-6 could be possible, but 9-7, I'm feeling.
I don't think the I don't believe in the Eagles because I think they're just gonna drop.
all four defenses are pretty not good.
Yeah,
To be
yeah.
honest.
Well, to be fair, the Eagles had a shot, but then they traded so many of their good parts away. For
Yep.
what? Bradford? Because I don't think Bradford will live up to the hype, and I think that's what's going to cost them. They're going to believe in Bradford, and he's just not going to deliver. So they're going to lose
Correct.
games they should have won. That's my point with that bombing. They put too much faith in Bradford. But anyway, let's go to the NFC North. I predict the Lions will win at 13-3 like you. It doesn't
Yep.
get any more simple than that. The offense is loaded, and if Eric Ebron and Amir Abdullah live up to the hype, they are a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And they're fun to watch now with Abdullah. Very fun to watch. So,
Detroit.
that's who you got to.
It's- I mean, you already heard it in my bold predictions. I gotta go Detroit. I'm from Detroit.
If
You
they're
gotta go to your
13-3,
hometown.
that means they are very likely to get a wild card spot because there's no way the Seahawks, with their brutal schedule, can get it. Well, they could, but I don't think they will because I don't think the Seattle offense is as strong as last year.
So, here we go. Wild card time,
All
eh?
right, so for my wild card team, I'll list one at a time. We'll list one at a time for this. My first wild card team is the other NFC West team because I said they were both getting in. The last bird to make this, Seattle Seahawks. I don't know how far they'll
Oh.
go, but that defense is part of the reason why they got in.
And my first wild card team that I have listed is Green Bay.
You hate saying that, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I
They
do.
won't go away. They won't go away. So,
I mean, I would have to be an idiot to not say Green Bay. You know, they're a good team, but they just don't have a defense.
yep. But, so my next wild card team is actually Green Bay as well. So Philly will not make the playoffs. Because, like I said, they put too much faith in Bradford. They would be better, honestly, with Sanchez. And that's
And
awkward
my-
to say. Go ahead.
And my final wild card team is the St. Louis Rams.
Whoa, whoa! I thought you were going to say the Cardinals. Are you telling me the Cardinals can't get in?
I'm telling you that the Cardinals will not get in, and that I feel St. Louis
We'll get over the hump.
is I feel they're poised to have they have a very scary young defense that reminds me a lot like a certain division rival that they have.
Oh yeah, and let's not forget their running back squad. If Gurley gets healthy, you have him, and I think the other guy's name is Trey Mason.
Yeah, you have a young beast mode coming. I mean, that team is like the Seattle Seahawks, but young, a little bit differently made, but still seems like they're built the same way.
I like that, Bill. Honestly, I want the Rams to get the playoffs so they don't have to move.
Oh, they're done moving anyway. That's,
You know, because I think the ones that are going to move are the Raiders and the Chargers.
I wouldn't be surprised if all three teams didn't move.
That would be very awkward to have 3 teams in one stadium.
They're not going to have all three teams be in the same city. I feel like the Rams will pick a different city.
Oh.
But I mean, I don't see a team staying in. I don't see them staying in St. Louis. I just don't.
Yeah. But I get you. So, alright. That's all we have. And you know what's ironic? We also forgot to talk about that girl coach, which, I don't know. We can save that for the next part. What do you think? You know,
I think we can save it right before, and we can just we can add it into the curriculum right before we
because I wanted to praise the Cardinals for doing like they weren't the first team to do it because last year or year before my San Antonio Spurs did the same, and she took the rookies to win the NBA summer matches, which was good. Hope she doesn't leave though, because I want her to be the first NBA head coach that's a girl. But yeah, we'll save that for the next part. But props to the Cardinals, just to say it right now, in case we forget. So, Bill, are you ready for next week? Because next week is the one before we get to actual football. And we're going to talk about the 4 teams and their schedules. And we're going to predict what their win-loss record will be, and if they'll make the playoffs, which, well, we already said they're going to make them. Right, Bill?
I mean, we gave a little bit of a hint, or a little bit of our thought process, but it doesn't mean that something might not happen in the next week that might change our mind.
Yeah, like if Brian Hoyer becomes the quarterback, if he becomes the head quarterback, then Texans won't win. They won't get in. But
right,
like, I'll save my thoughts on the quarterback situation, because by that time, like, we should know. We should know. I don't want freaking Bill O'Brien to hold it back till like the week of the first season. It's like, don't do that, man. That's gonna be bad for all of us.
Right.
Plot twist: Tom Savage wins. But yeah, we're gonna save all that for next week. I'm excited, and I hope for at least for the main season to start, I'll try to have a template up for the video for the viewers to look at. I'll try to get that done before, like, in September. So that's one thing to note. So yeah, any closing thoughts, Bill?
Nothing much.
Oh, I was expecting you to say it's great to be back. Because it's great to...
It's great to be back!
It is.
Oh my god!
It is great to be back. I can't wait, man. I mean, school starts for me in, like, next week or so. Like, in 10, 11 days. But you know what starts with it, at least? Football. And that's what will carry me through the year. So, yeah. Thank you all for watching. Go and check out Bill's channel. And we'll see you guys later. We'll see you for next week when we predict the schedules.